Parks College's 189th annual competitive eating competition. Our competitors this time around are Kevin the Cookie Monster and Sydney the Hunger Down Under. They have been training since they were but young children, and today is their big debut. Today they will compete to eat as many double stuffed Oreos within the time allotted. So, let's hear some specifics on how most competitors train for their big day. We're Skyping into our resident scientist who makes millions of dollars training competitive eaters. Sierra, it's all you.
Hello, my name is Sierra Knighton of the Competitive Eating Association. Beginners think that there is a set manual when devouring large amounts of food, but there's not. So let's get rid of this. But there are a few tips that a lot of champs follow before each competition. Now, the stomach is about the size of a Nerf football and can typically hold about 32 ounces of fluid. To increase their stomach capacity, the pros usually consume large amounts of water. Now, champ Joey Chestnut, he sits down and consumes a gallon of water in one sitting on a daily basis. And people think that the stomach, after a certain stretch, that the stomach won't rebound to its normal capacity, but it does. So that's why he only does this before competition. And also, consuming large amount of water-filled foods such as broccoli, sauerkraut, and cabbage also works. And these work because they don't have any seeds to distract the competitor. They also have to work their jaw muscles to prevent muscle fatigue during competition. And chewing large amounts of gum seems to do the trick. And also chewing on silicone tubes that doctors use for patients after jaw surgery also helps. And another aspect, breathing control, is also very important. Competitors must understand how to pace themselves so they won't waste precious time or be at the risk of passing out due to lack of oxygen. And to do this, you have to think about swimming. There's a rhythmic breathing motion that goes on. You take a few strokes and breathe. And for competitive eating, it's the same thing. You take hot dogs, for example. You eat 3 to 4 hot dogs or whatever the competitor feels comfortable with. Eat those two or three or four and breathe and do the same thing over and over again. And last thing I would like to mention is the gag reflex. And some people can easily ignore this reflex, but others have to practice. And some competitors go as far as taking a toothbrush and brushing the back of their tongues to kind of get used to or better ignore that reflex. Now, these are only suggestions. So if you are interested in competitive eating, eat at your own risk.
So, then what's a calorie anyway? Well, a scientific calorie refers to the amount of heat needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water from 14.5 to 15.5 degrees Celsius. So, a nutritious calorie is actually 1,000 of smaller calories, sometimes called a kilocalorie. Pretty confusing, right? Those dang scientists. Anyway, a single double stuffed Oreo has 70 calories. That's a lot of calories. There's also 2 grams of saturated fat, 90 milligrams of sodium, and 13 grams of sugar per Oreo. Typical human beings, unlike the ones being showcased today, are supposed to consume a 2,000 calorie per day diet to maintain healthy weight levels. Of course, other nutrients such as fibers, fats, proteins, carbohydrates, and vitamins come into play into what becomes a proper diet, but this is a good way to estimate the energy levels. A competitive eater, however, can eat up to 20,000 calories in the span of 10 minutes in just hot dogs and buns. For comparison, Michael Phelps, a U.S. competitive swimmer, consumed nearly 12,000 calories a day when training for the Olympics, with around 4,000 calories per meal, which is 6 times the recommended intake for a normal human. This included a breakfast of 3 fried egg sandwiches, a 5-egg omelet, 3 pieces of French toast, 3 pancakes, and grits for breakfast. However, he did also burn up to 748 calories per hour doing vigorous swimming, which we assume our competitors will continue on to do immediately after the competition finishes. Now that we've got the facts, let's watch him eat. Ready, set, go. Look at those jaw muscles go! Human jaws consist mainly of type 1 and type 2 muscle fibers, with a greater concentration of type 2, which are fast twitch muscles. Athletes like these train these muscles so that they don't fatigue as quickly. It is likely that the professionals have a greater concentration of type 1 jaw muscle fibers to facilitate eating more quickly because they have a longer duration and tire more slowly. Professional eaters like these have also overcome the signals for satiety, such as stretch mechanoreceptors, leptin levels, and pH levels in the small intestine that tell them to stop eating. That's why they go, go, go. They also do not experience gastric peristalsis while they're eating, unlike in the bodies of those who ingest food like normal people. What this means is that this food is stockpiled in the stomach, but the stomach will not move in a back and forth motion to break down that food until the meal is over. Both food eaters' stomachs appear flat before eating, but during normal consumption, the stomach remains the same size. But in one of these professional stomachs, it becomes distended and enlarged due to the large volume of food consumed. This is due to the increased compliance of the stomach with training. Still at it, as you can see. So when we move from mechanics onto volume, let's talk about the normal human stomach, because that can hold an average volume of 1 to 1.5 liters of food depending on the size of the person. Although the stomach has the ability to expand and distend and accommodate for those larger amounts of foods. So if we take the annual 4th of July hot dog eating contest as an example, if the average hot dog size is 12 centimeters long and 2 centimeters in diameter, treating the hot dog as a right cylinder, this means an average hot dog's volume is 37.7 centimeters cubed. And the average hot dog bun on top of that is about 240 centimeters cubed. For Joey Chestnut's record-breaking 73.5 hot dogs in 10 minutes, this means he consumed a volume of 2.77 liters of hot dog plus 17.6 liters of buns, for a total of 20.41 liters. This isn't necessarily the volume his stomach expands to, because the food, especially the bun, can be broken down and compressed, but this is still an extremely large volume of food. With our competitors here, we have a single double stuffed Oreo with the volume of approximately 23.9 centimeters cubed, which means that Joey Chestnut, in comparison, ate 850 double stuffed Oreos worth of hot dogs. So let's see what these guys have gotten. The Hunger Down Under has finished how many Oreos?
7.
Okay.
In
3 minutes. In 3 minutes. And Kevin the Cookie Eater has gotten how many?
11.
We have a winner. Put your hand up or something. So to finish off, we'd like to ask our competitors, when is the next time you're going to be eating?
Never.
I'll second that.
Most competitors will not eat at least for several days after finishing the competitions. He needs some milk!
Doing the people. Oh!
Somebody! Oh!
He needs some milk.